So the next concept, the next topic that we are going to see is related to pointers. Okay, so now what pointers are? Basically, we need to know the definition first. Okay, now in simple terms, let's take an example. Suppose, say, in simple terms, if you take the definition of pointer, a pointer is a variable. Okay, it's similar to a variable, but the pointer will hold the address of some another variable. It won't inside the value that is there inside a pointer, that will be an address location of some another variable. Okay, so that is the basic definition, I would say. Let's come on to here. Yep, here if you notice, like, what's a pointer? Pointer is a variable whose value is the address of another variable. Okay, direct address of the memory location. Okay, so basically at which memory location some other variable is saved, that memory location value will be saved inside a pointer. Okay, likely any variable or constant, you must declare a pointer before using it. Okay, fine. So as we declare integers, variable, integer, character, float, similarly you will have to declare a pointer as well. Okay, so let's assume, basically let's take an example, and then again, now why to use pointers, that is also a quick question that should come onto your mind. Okay, so now suppose, say, I have a variable, suppose, say, a. Now a has, suppose, say, value 10. Okay, now if I simply say print the value of a, okay, let's say a is equal to %d, and let's say address of a, basically ampersand a is equal to %d, and in both the positions I'll press the value of a and I'll print the value of ampersand a. Okay, fine. So if you look at this now, okay, fine. So if I just say save this program, okay, and I'll save it pointer basics. Okay, fine. Let's just say compile it. Shouldn't be getting any errors or warnings. Yep, and let's say run it. Okay, so now this is the value inside a, that is 10, and at this memory location the variable a is saved in the system. Okay, acha, for now I've just taken it as an integer itself, so that's why it is displaying an integer value. Normally it is like, if we take the actual value location, it should be displaying some hexadecimal value. But chalo, for now, for the kind of argument sake, let's say this is the number at the location, at this location the value is being saved. Okay, now why I will be needing a pointer is, suppose, say, I want to change the value of this variable. Okay, but I don't want to use, or I don't want to access that variable directly. For example, say if I want to change the value of that variable, now I'll write something like this: a is equal to, suppose, say, 123. And now when I kind of run this lines again, okay, fine, I'll get the updated value of a. Right, first it was 10, now it is 123. But now what I want to do is, I don't want to address this variable directly, but I want to change the value inside this. So in that scenario, the pointers will come into picture. Now when we are creating a pointer, or when we are kind of declaring the pointer, the syntax basically is, you'll write the type, the data type, you will put a star, and then you will put the variable name, whatever variable you want to give, x, y, z, whatever name you want to give, you will put a star before that, so it becomes a pointer now. Okay, and the type, or the data type, what will be the data type? The data type will be the same as the variable that you are going to address, reference. Okay, so what I'll do is, I'll create an integer, I give a space, I give a star, and I say ptr, suppose, say, fine, star ptr, I give this variable. Okay, now this is just the declaration, you can say. Fine, if you want to give a declaration and definition also, fine. So what you can do is, you can do something like this: star ptr, suppose, say, 2, okay, let's say ptr 1 is equal to ampersand of a. This is the declaration and definition. Fine, so either ways you want to go. Acha, if you have declared it, now you want to define it. Okay, now you want to set the value, so you can do something like this: ptr is equal to ampersand of a. Fine, so either use this way, or you can go for this way. Either ways it is fine. right? So for now, for argument's sake, I'll simply say comment this out. I'll say ptr2 is equal to ampersand of a. I'll take this one. Now I want to update the value of a without kind of using this a variable, right, as I told you. So now what I'll do is, instead of doing this thing, I'll say star ptr2 is equal to 123. Okay, I just did this one. Okay, now just let me just say compile it. Let me run it. Now you can see the value of a got updated, even though I didn't use the variable a directly over here. I didn't reference the variable a. Okay, but I said star ptr2 is equal to 123, but the value of a, when I printed the value of a over here, it got updated to 123. Okay, now understanding what the topic is basically, or how that thing is working. So let me just say open paint in simple terms if I can explain it. Okay, what you did was, suppose say you created, okay, it's stuck, nice. Okay, okay, let's assume basically this was the variable a that you created. Okay, fine, let's name it. Okay, 48. Hmm. Okay, let me, my bad. Okay, fill this. Okay, fine. So let's just name this variable as a. Okay, the color is black. Let's just name this variable a for you. Okay, fine. Now you might have some value over here. So suppose I put a value of maybe 100 over here. Fine. Now this a also has an address, right? So the address location of this a variable, suppose I'll write it a little bit smaller. Okay, fine. So is 1234. Okay, fine. So this is the address location from where it is starting. Okay, we did this one. So when we wrote this line, okay, so that got created. Okay, now the next part which is there, now what we did is we created a pointer, okay, that was named ptr2, and that contained the address of it. Okay, so in here, whenever we are doing this thing, suppose I create a pointer, or suppose another variable. Okay, now that the name of that variable is ptr2. Okay, control Z alphabets. Okay, fine. Let's just say 48. I'll say ptr 48 and ptr2. Fine. So this was the name of this another variable that we created. Okay, and that variable will have what? That will have this address now. Okay, so that variable has 1234 inside it. Okay, why? Because we have done that thing, and this variable for itself might have a different address. Maybe if we go on to this thing, maybe that has this address location. It's saved on this address location. We'll check that as well. Okay, fine. So what it is actually doing is, basically this variable is pointing onto this location, right? Basically this location, right? Okay, and when we did star ptr, okay, so we are doing star means value at this location, and basically what does that mean is, go to that value at that location and make these changes. So basically whenever I am writing this one, what I am doing is star ptr means value at that star pointer location. So whatever the value is there in ptr location, go to that location, and inside that location change the value or update the value to whatever we have done over here. Okay, fine. Then again, chalo, this is one thing. What I will do is, chalo, what I'll say, suppose say I'll just say copy this line. I'll say ptr2 is equal to the value and ampersand ptr2 also I'll put. Okay, fine. So I'll say ptr2 and ampersand of ptr2. Fine. Okay, fine. So let's just say save it, compile it, 0 error 0 warnings, running it. Okay, fine. So if you notice in ptr, what value is there in ptr? Whatever, exactly the same value of that address of ampersand ptr, sorry, ampersand a, and ptr itself has a different address, right? So that is what I was explaining with the drawing model. Okay, so a has some value and address of a is something. Now ptr has kind of address of a, right? So in ptr, whenever I'm printing ptr, it is having the same value what is there in the address of a, and ptr itself has a different address. Okay, fine. So this is how your basic pointers work. Acha, now, okay, where is that gone? Okay, so this is the basic working of a pointer. Okay, now there are a lot of things. There is a called as a pointer, there is a pointer to pointer. Okay, fine, and all that stuff. We are not going to go into that much details. Okay,